start again?
Why?
Okay. Hi, I'm Kevin, and I'm here with Janine.
This is me. I'm
and
here.
It's Janine, and we're about to do another Inward Journey podcast. And
We're recording today on One Juryland.
That's what I was about to say. And I can't remember the rest.
We'd like to honour elders past and present and those emerging.
It's emerging. Yeah. Okay. So we've done that. That was fantastically done. Not at all messy.
I think it was absolutely messy.
Oh, was it? Oh, dear.
Messy but honest and... what's the word?
Silly?
No. I was looking at the word in terms of, like, integrity is the word I was thinking of, but that's the wrong word. It was honest, it was sincere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, quite natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes some of these things are so contrived, we can lose our sincerity, and I really want to do that. And sometimes I'm not very good with reading something off a book or something like that and trying to be sincere with it. It doesn't work for me. So I'd rather it be messy and sincere than reading off a book.
It's somewhat intimidating when you start doing a podcast because you've got a microphone.
Yeah.
And there's immediately, this is a conversation between us, and yet it's like there's a third person, in fact, because of however many people there are listening.
Yeah. And it's bullshit. What you've said to me is you sold me a pitch.
Yes.
And if I can be so bold, what I really believe that you want is you want the affair with the woman and you don't want to spend the time with your wife and your children. That's true, Kevin. And that brings me to one of the things I was going to say about our topic on intuition is...
Is that what the topic is today?
We didn't say it. The topic today is intuition.
Yeah, it's very intuitive of me.
What I was going to say is that sometimes after our intuition and our responses to our intuition, the important thing after it is our conversations, that we have continued conversations. Because then we're unpacking what did we intuitively know that we weren't able to express in the moment.
Is that just intuition? We're talking about us, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking about... So it's not always just intuition, is it? Sometimes it can be baggage.
True.
Whatever that is.
Therefore, the importance of conversations after.
Very much so, yeah.
To unpack that and find out what was playing out in the moment that affected or changed the outcome or didn't give you the outcome you wanted.
Do you think that's where the term baggage came from? Because unpacking? Sorry.
It's a good thought, Kevin. Don't be sorry.
Went off there somewhere.
So we're having one of those days, people, where we're going to go off on a couple of tangents. I don't apologise for that.
No, absolutely not.
I think part of it is this topic is very much like that. When I think about intuition, the thing that's come to mind is that we're teaching children to be very intuitive in terms of, or we're listening to them differently now, so they can intuitively know that they don't want to hug that person or they don't want to be close to that person or sit on someone's lap or do that sort of thing. And we want to listen to them and value them because there's something that they know that we don't. Mm-hmm. And as we're listening to them and valuing them, we're teaching them to listen to their feelings. And sometimes I think as adults, we can have the intuition, but we're not really sure about what that's about yet until we have further conversations about it later.
Which is what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Is that, it could be the next day.
Yeah.
And, you'll suddenly be able to go, yes, that was about this and this and this and this and this, and all these different reasons. And I agree, yeah. And sometimes I find it really hard to listen to my intuition, to go with it.
Yeah.
To go with it that's the right term. So if I'm doing something, this isn't right, I don't want to be doing this. Oh, yes, this is really good for you to do, Kevin. And, have that voice, which is... I looked up intuition, and it says gut feeling, but it also says that it's thought or thoughts that are not logical. So it's like I can experience intuition as a kind of a struggle.
Yeah.
Like my whole being is going, no, this isn't good. And then there's a part of me, the logical part of me is going, of course it's good. We're doing this for these reasons. Oh, that's true, but it's still not good.
It's tricky because you've got to use some discernment in the moment and know what parts of yourself you're actually listening to.
Yeah.
I've got an example when
Good.
Quite a few years ago we were with a family event and it was around Christmas time. So we're coming up to that time.
It's Christmas time.
Yeah, it is. And the Christmas tree is up and the lights are sparkling. I put them on today. I was very excited. Random.
There's no snow though.
No, not in Australia.
No. Okay. All right.
So there was a family gathering at my mother-in-law's, and one of the family members one of the women had brought along a new male partner. And I'd met him before and almost had the sense that he was targeting me. He was wanting to almost touch me or
wow, okay,
follow me or watch me, and it was quite uncomfortable. And then towards the end of the night, this person was going to go, and he was going around kissing everybody, and I knew he was going to come and kiss me, and I did not want it. And I was aware of it well ahead of the time, and everything in my gut was saying, don't have anything to do with this person. And what I ended up doing was I ended up sitting on Greg's knee, because if I got really close to Greg and kind of cuddled into him, he couldn't approach me. He still did, and he still leaned in to try and kiss me. And I threw my hand out and went, I'm a handshake kind of girl. And shook his hand.
Yep.
And I just thought, no way
Yeah.
are you touching me that I don't want.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, had I not listened to my gut, this man would have had his way and not my way with myself. And that was interesting. I was still very close to and sitting on my husband's lap when this man still was going to approach me and wanted to kiss me.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. And part of that is just keeping safe, speaking up for myself. And all of that was really awful and uncomfortable. And that person left the family soon after that anyway. But I guess that's what I want to talk about around intuition. And it can come in lots of different ways.
Yeah. I can't think of any examples. I guess I can and I can't. It's like intuition works for me when I don't think about it. I know that that's what we've just been talking about. But there are times, we've just been talking about it. You do things because they're right.
Yeah.
And they're right because your whole being says so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I might make plans for the day or the week or whatever, and then do something entirely different because that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
And not really think about it until after I've done it. Oh, yeah, no, why did I do that? Oh, yeah, that was the right thing to do. Yeah. But I can't think of any really good examples. No, I can't.
Okay.
So we've decided to take a break. because it's Christmas, so we'll take a break. So this will be the last podcast, which won't go out until, well, it goes out whenever it goes out, soon, the next week or so. And we won't be doing another one until the end of January.
That's right.
So about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Roughly.
And part of that is, for me, if we don't make space, then things can't change. And I think about that in life. It's been uncomfortable to make space and to change things, change up work, change up your relationship with life, if you like. And as things changed, I don't want life to happen to me. I want to be able to make it happen.
How's that?
Well, if it happens to you, you get sick and therefore you respond to the sickness, or or you get made redundant and so therefore you have to end work, or so those things, life will happen to you, or you hurt your knee and so therefore you can't do any exercise. But I mean, life will happen to us, and there's a lot of things we're not in control of. But I like to happen to life. I want to be proactive in how I respond to it. I want to make some choices along the way. I want to stop because my body's saying you need a break, Janine, because I have burnt out a couple of times. And burning out means that I've needed to stop, or I've been forced to give up work in particular areas and create a different pathway for myself. So this is me being proactive in going, what are my choices? What do I want? And sometimes I can't do that without space. And so the stopping really allows me that space to go, what do I want? And is this the pathway I really want? And part of it with the podcast is, what do we want and where do we want this to head? And so we're just planning some different things. And so that space is going to allow that to happen for both of us.
Easy for me. I want fame and fortune.
Of course you do. So we'll make some space so you can pursue fame.
It's not going to happen here.
Yeah.
No. So we're going to do some different things.
Some different things.
Yeah.
One of our family members wanted to do Bad Centre. Do you know about Bad Centre?
No, I don't know about Bad Centre.
Okay. It's this silly game that you play.
Sorry.
That everyone buys a present.
Yeah.
And you get to bargain and win the presents and swap the presents, and the person who's last gets to get the best present. I don't fully know the rules, but I know it's a fun way to share presents. That's all I knew, actually. And I was really excited because I went, yes, let's do this. Because I haven't had those opportunities to do the fun stuff within the workplace because
that's right.
I haven't been connected so much to workplaces. I have over many years in the past, but as Christmas has developed, more people are doing more Christmassy events with their workplaces now. And I've been in private practice in my counselling practice, and so haven't had those opportunities. So one of my family members decided that they'd do Bad Centre. And I went, yes, that sounds good, and gave a message to the family around, let's do this. And we decided not to do presents with the family because we didn't want to feel under pressure to give presents out to everyone, to spend more money with things that we don't necessarily need or want. And we don't do things around pressure. That's not my family. And that's kind of one of our rules or beliefs around looking after everyone. Anyway, so there was this idea of Bad Centre, and our daughter Rhiannon said, how do I explain it? Rhiannon got back to me and said, I thought we weren't doing presents at all, and Bad Santa is going and buying a present.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so what happened with that is she felt that we were going back on the idea around presents. And her first thought was, no, I don't want to do this. This wasn't what we were supposed to do. We weren't going to buy presents, and we've done all our things for everybody. Why would we go out and get more? And I'm thinking, this is a fun thing. This is something we can share on the day whenever we get together for our Christmas gathering. But the insight came with the conversations after. When I had a further conversation with Rhiannon, there was a first conversation where she said, I thought we weren't doing presents and this puts pressure on us and we didn't want that. And I went, well, this was a fun thing to do. And so you can see that the families are in two camps.
Yep.
What I ended up doing was saying, let's not do Bad Santa. I don't want people to be under pressure. And that was a decision I was comfortable with making. And as I talked with Rhiannon further about it, I was able to say to her, I've never had the opportunity to do Bad Santa, and I was actually really excited because I think I've only had one experience of this many years ago, and I don't get that opportunity with a workplace because I'm not attached to a workplace. And she went, oh, I didn't know that. And what she was able to say is she had lots of experience of it, and she said the rules aren't clear. Some people go and buy a very expensive present and they go to a lot of effort. And even though that they're capped at a certain amount, maybe $20 or whatever, but they've gone and spent effort and time getting a fancy something. And some people have gone and got a joke present and it's an ugly thing that people don't want. And they've spent no effort and time. And so what happens is there can be tension within the workplace. And then if they barter and bargain for something and it becomes part of a game. So Rhiannon was able to say that she thought, I'll be part of the game this particular year and she'll speak up and have a bit of fun with it. Talked about there was some oven gloves that she wanted and went, yes, and she bartered for them and it was fun in the moment and she got them, but she felt terrible after.
Why?
She felt so bad that she'd manipulated people and she'd got the oven mitts that she wanted and it was a very uncomfortable experience for something that was supposed to be fun.
Oh.
Oh. So it was the conversation after that her initial no was informed by all this experience. And my initial excitement was informed by my experience. And neither of us were wrong.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Intuitive on two totally different levels.
Yeah.
Wow.
But had we not had the conversation...
Yeah.
And this is what worries me, Kevin, is I feel very fortunate in my family. We will be brave enough to have the messy conversations.
Yeah.
I wonder how hard it is for people to have those conversations because until you let your guard down, you won't know what's happening for the other person or yourself until you have those conversations.
My family of origin, the major rule was silence. And I don't think that's unusual.
Well, mine too.
Yeah, I know.
Can't you still have those conversations with your friends now?
Depends which friends, but the answer's yes, I can.
Yeah.
I keep thinking whenever we have these types of conversations that it's different from me, that I need to have these honest conversations. But it's not different from me.
Ah.
Really, it's not, is it? You know, like all the things you've been talking about, like how to move forward and how change works for you.
Yeah.
Like having the space to make change or,
Yeah.
you know, It's not just intuitive, it's also logical. You need the space. If you want to put something else in your life,
Yeah.
then you need the space to do that. So we had a little break there. I was talking about how I'm different because I have to talk about things because of my history. And that's always, something in my head. So when you talk to me about these things or other people do, I think or I say, oh, well, I need to talk about those things. I most often say, and implying that other people don't. And that's not true. Implying that I'm different, and that's not true. Other people think about these things too.
Do you actually have the conversations where you get to reveal yourself? I know that you and I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But depends where and who.
Mm.
Yeah. And it depends on how much I'm lying.
Okay.
Sounds great, doesn't it? But, I'll be lying to myself. So it's about, denial, I guess.
Do you catch yourself lying?
Yeah, sometimes. I catch myself, we used to say, fibbing or exaggerating. But when you think about that, that's being dishonest. It's all being dishonest. So not beating myself up about this, but it's being dishonest. So, I do catch myself doing that, yeah. Mm. And sometimes I catch myself outright lying as I'm in the process of doing it. And sometimes I catch myself outright lying without any conversation with anyone outwardly, just myself.
Inwardly.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we're sitting here talking with a microphone and without a microphone, and other people that I'm close to, I really have to think about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like that example I gave you before we started, which was it about intuition? I'm not sure. Anyway, it was about changing things and how I'm changing something in my life at the moment.
Yeah.
Working at it and being very careful, not careful, noticing what comes out of my mouth, what I say.
Oh, yes, we were having that conversation.
Yeah, so the thoughts leads to the feeling, leads to words, however that works. I've forgotten how that works. But, eventually something comes out of my mouth. And is that really what I want to do? So, example would be, look at that bastard with that big car. And I go, oh, everybody deserves to have a big car. Including you, Kevin. It's okay. You don't know anything about that person anyway. It's like, well, that's not quite right. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
That I am just catching those things that come out of my mouth. It seemed to me that's set in concrete, and they're actually not. I can change them.
Yeah, I think the value becomes the catching it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some of these things, as I'm reading, some of these thoughts that we have, or thought patterns that we have, or that I have anyway, are like they're set in concrete, they're entrenched, it's a huge rut, and it's never going to come out, and it's not true. It's not true at all. You just work at it. The first bit of working at it is the awareness, that awareness of what's going on.
I remember this fellow many, many years ago, back in my early days of counselling, so that would have been 30-odd years ago.
Yep.
And I'd asked him about, he was contemplating having an affair, and he was a salesperson in his job, and he was contemplating having an affair with this woman.
Did he brought that to you?
He did. And he was talking about this was a dilemma for him. And I said, okay, what do you want in life? So he sat down and he said, well, I want to spend my time with my 2 children, and I want to spend some romantic times with my wife. And he gave me this beautiful pitch around what he wanted.
Was it right?
And I said to him, that sounds fabulous. I'm looking at that and going, that's wonderful. And it's bullshit. What you've said to me is you've sold me a pitch.
Yes.
And if I can be so bold,
Yeah.
what I really believe that you want is you want the affair with the woman and you don't want to spend the time with your wife and your children. And he went, oh, I do.
So,
I want to have an affair. And I think he'd almost bought himself this.
he was
this
believing it.
Yeah, and I was
That's
just thinking, oh my
interesting.
goodness, no.
So, wow.
But I think that we can, at those times, we can try and trick ourselves into we're believing what we should do, but we're not actually doing it and we're not pursuing it.
Earlier on, you gave a fantastic example of how not to do that, which was, I can't remember. We were talking about intuition before we started the podcast, and you said something about that my mind can actually tell me that I'm sick or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not. But, I will be now because of it. I can't remember what it was that you were talking about. But that whole idea that with things we do have control of is also sometimes about, oh, I'm sick, I've got a cold. And then you've got a cold. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I can go, I don't need to be sick today.
I think that a lot of people...
I didn't explain that well, sorry.
Well, no, what you're talking about is the value of the mind. And there's a lot of pain management courses which are all about that, just starting to notice the parts of your body that are not in pain. So particularly around chronic pain management. And when I think about it, for me, emotional pain as well as physical pain can often be managed in the same way, in that as we're focusing on the areas of our life that are doing well, it's almost like focusing on the parts of your body that are not in pain and going, this part of me is not in pain. Aren't I doing well? Look at the movement that I have. Notice the movement. So it's like noticing these parts that are doing well.
Oh, okay.
And recognizing those areas that are not in pain. And so in that way, we're working with our mind to recover ourselves or to be well. That's one way, but there's lots of ways of working with your mind.
It's about the listening, isn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
noticing.
So you get the mind and the body being the whole thing, and the mind being whatever the mind is. For me, it can work one of two ways. One way is, I'm in charge. This is what's going on. And, the mind, and this is what we're doing today. And there's like another part of me going, hang on, just slow down. Or I can be myself and go, actually, this is what's going on. This is what we're going to do. And I'm not doing this well. Use my mind as a tool.
Yeah.
Rather than having my mind use me as a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But that's what I meant, but I didn't describe it very well.
I've been catching myself when I've been walking Asha recently, and the pathways around our home or the pathways that I take, there's a lovely walk that I do with Asha, but we've done it lots, and particularly around lockdown in Melbourne, it was really tough. And Asha and I used to do a lot of the walks and we're very familiar with, and I noticed Asha didn't want to walk the other morning, and a couple of mornings we've been out just walking from home. And the interesting thing is I noticed Asha didn't want to walk with me. She'd rather go and play with the dogs, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
We're talking about a dog.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is it was after I noticed her that I noticed me. I didn't want to walk. I didn't want to walk around these well-worn pathways that we know so well. I was bored with them.
Yeah.
And so now what I've been doing is I'm now taking Asha to someplace different. So we're both interested in the walk, interested what we're looking at, interested that this is different. For Asha, she'll see the different bunnies along the way.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
loves the rabbits.
It's different.
And for me, I'm experiencing it differently. But it's interesting. I noticed her before I even noticed my own body, that I was pushing my body and I wasn't listening to what my body was happening to my body around not wanting to be there. So I was kind of bullying myself, going, this is what you have to do. And you know when you do a have to?
Yeah. It's very heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have to get up and shave. I have to go to work.
Yeah. Rather than I'm doing this to look after myself and to something better, or I'm grateful that I've got a job, or I'm grateful that I'm going on a walk with my beautiful dog, and all of those things.
It's a different way of looking at it. And
It
there
is.
is always a different way of looking at it. Yeah. So, like many other things in my life, I think thinking about intuition and talking about intuition, listening to you talk about it, and the things I've been doing in my everyday recently, make me realize in a really, really good way that I don't know much about intuition, really. So it's like there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot that's repressed, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
So, yeah. Because as we've been talking, I think, I've been tempted to go, my daughter, I could talk about my daughter doing that. So I can talk about people removed. But when I think about my intuition,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, oh, crikey.
I reckon you'd use it all the time. If somebody came to you, even with a work opportunity or a business deal, and they said to you, what do you reckon if you do this with me, Kevin?
You're right.
You would know.
Instantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You might not be able to articulate the reason.
My mind might take over and go, well, look, there's a few bucks there.
Yes, okay.
I need my intuition to say, yeah, but...
It's interesting because there was a time in my life that if somebody asked me to do some work for them and the pay would be shit, because a lot of times in welfare it often is, but I would be so grateful that someone noticed me. I would go, yes, yes. Intuitively,
Yeah.
I believe if I was able to stop back then, I would have said no. But I wasn't able to. I was so grateful for the opportunity of being noticed or valued that I grabbed everything and I did things that, well, I pushed myself to great lengths and did over and above in a desperate measure for someone to notice me or value me. And I learnt a lot about myself. But intuitively, had I been able to listen to myself, I would have gone, no, this is way too much work. This isn't going to amount to anything, and it didn't value me in the moment.
No, because, the value thing is really important.
Yeah. But I wasn't at that point then. I can be now. And so I guess maybe it's really important for people, and what I'd like to say to them and to you, Kevin, and to me, is to not be too hard on ourselves if we don't catch up with it straight away.
Yeah, I get that, and I think that you're right. When I was running a business, people make propositions all the time. When you're running a successful business, emails and phone going, and there's all sorts of interesting things that I was able to just go, nah, I'm not going to do that. No. And I didn't need to think about it. It's just like, no. And now, all this time later, I'm having to rebuild that, because then I didn't think about it. And if you'd have said, oh, your intuition's good, I'd say, oh, get fucked. I don't have to do that. It's just because I'm a great professional or a great businessman. Or I wouldn't have even said those things. I just, what are you talking about? And now I'm having to consciously, or not having to, I am rebuilding those things consciously, making myself aware of them. Not that I want to run the same business anymore, but I want the awareness of who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And those, other things we talked about. Never do something if it doesn't value me.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm aware that as we're talking about this, what comes to mind is my work with couples. And many a time I'll be working with couples around stopping and pondering what needs to happen next rather than just making a rash decision in the moment. And that really allows you to get in touch with what's actually happening for you and to listen to intuitive messages. And I can think of quite a few couples where, in particular, the men that I have worked with would go away and come back and go, well, actually, I've been using this not only just in the couple relationship, but I've been using it in my workplace. And when we talk about these tools of listening and valuing and stopping, these are emotional intelligent tools that we can use anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Good.
yeah,
Great.
so many times I've had a client come back to me and go, I've been using this at work. And I'm just going, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we finish, I think it will be really important to wish everyone happy holiday season
Yep. And then Happy New Year.
and Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And whatever you do, stay safe and don't forget to be good listeners to yourselves.
Yep.
Make wise choices.
I love New Year.
Do you?
I like taking photographs. It's hard to take photographs of the fireworks, but I usually manage to get a few good ones.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be looking forward to seeing those.
Oh, we can put them on our Instagram page.
You can.
I
Sounds
already
great.
put some others on recently. Anyway, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll get Asha to say goodbye. Ash?
What?
Oh, that was it.
Was that it?
Yes. I wonder if she's going to say
That
goodbye.
was so
Asha,
small.
say again. That's it. All that effort.
Okay, well done, Asha.
This is goodbye from us.
For a few weeks?
Yep.
Yep.
We'll be back soon and take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.